So let's have a look at the GBP USD. As I say, this is potentially a move right here, because last week we were talking about this downtrend line, so this main downtrend line right here, because we're having a battle on the back of that. And of course, we were saying that potentially, or I was particularly saying that I would have expected potentially a bounce off this to go long. But until something happens, we were going to keep away from this until we got some sort of signal. Now, of course, it broke through this main downtrend line, and of course we have this uptrend line right here, so we've now moved into the sell zone. And what we would expect is we'd expect this A to be taken out at 1.5826, and therefore reverse the market, okay? So reverse the AB swing from an up AB to a potential down AB. So if we just put in our AB subswing, so from the top to the first, two to the left, two to the right. Let's pull this back a little bit so that we don't confuse. So you've got this A to B subswing, two to the left, two to the right, look, okay. The extension is at 1.57790, retrace to 38.2. So if we do go to the extension, which I'd expect it to potentially go for now, because if the bears are going to stay in control, then they have to take out this A low point, which is the low point, to prove that they're in control. So we'd expect it to take out the 1.618, then start retracing to test the back of this downtrend line, potentially with the new swing, okay? So the new swing, of course, if it hits this extension, will be from this point here down towards the point here where it breaks, and we've got two to the left, two to the right. So let's take a look at the 4 hour. And by the way, what we were saying as well, once again, we've got the up AB on the daily and the down AB on the 4 hour. So they are not in sync. But if we take out this A point, that would mean we're in a down AB. 4 hour would also be in a down AB. And therefore, we've got a little bit of sync as far as daily, 4 hour and the 1 hour is concerned. So what do we have? Well, if we take a look at this, we've got the A is at 63.80. And your B is at 1.6007. Retrace is 38.2. So we're heading for, yes, the extension point at the 1.618, okay? So what we can also do, let's put in this downtrend line right here. Let's change this a little bit. There we go. So we've got this downtrend line now. And of course, once again, below this downtrend line, what have we got? We've got the sell zone. Above it, what do we have? We have potential buy zone areas. Just let me zoom out as well a little bit here now. And just let's clean a little bit of this up, because it's getting extremely messy. This is your main downtrend line I want to leave in as well, of course. So zoom back into the here and now. So this is what we're watching now. Actual fact, let's just adjust this slightly because we haven't got that quite right. So we need to touch there. So you've got the down AB. So we are scoring points. I'd expect some sort of pullback now, or of course a fast and furious move towards this 1.618. But overall, we're certainly looking more short than we're looking long on the GBP. Looking at the 1 hour then, the A is at 1.6177 and the B is at 1.5922. Of course, A to B, this was a new swing. And of course, because we have a new swing, we would expect some sort of retracement. We've got no retracement, so one or two things. Because we've got very little in the form of retracement, it's either going to go fast and furiously towards 1.618, or, as you can see, we started to get some sort of support at the 1.27, nice pin bar. Test of that pin bar. So potentially what we could be looking to do is we could be looking to move back towards this trend line right here. Now remember, if it breaks through this trend line, then what you're doing, you're in a deeper retracement, and what you should be looking for is you should be looking for drawing your trend line and waiting for a break below the trend line. And of course, you're in the buy zone, wait to move back towards this sell zone area. So watch this downtrend line because it'll give you the heads up. But of course, what we could do once again, if you're looking at maybe wanting to try and trade this retracement, okay, if let's say we move to the 15 minute, so let's just draw this out, 15 minute. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. Okay. And we're drawing this trend line. So let's draw this in, and then let's draw in the inner trend line right here. Okay. But more to the point, I just want to zoom in a little bit. I want to draw in this inner trend lines here. These are more to the point here. These trend lines, the inner trend lines that we're wanting to draw right here. Look, so let's try and get the cleanest one. So if we are drawing this inner trend line, and yes, there are other inner trend lines as well, but if we've got this inner trend line, look at this, we've started to move sideways, we'll move from this area, the sell zone, into this area, the buy zone. So now if we start making higher highs and higher lows, what you can certainly say is that if we're looking on the 1 hour, we are potentially going towards its outer trend line, and you could use the smaller time frames to actually trade towards this downtrend line right here. That's if you wanted to look at that. Now, at the moment, what I am saying is there's a more of a chance of going short than there is particularly going long. Everything tells you that. It's been a strong retracement. We're below the main downtrend line. We're below this main uptrend line. So we're in this sell zone area. Look, this is the sell zone area. But, of course, this is a very large engulfing bearish candle. What we would potentially expect is some sort of test of this before we potentially go after the 1.618. So potentially just expect that. Remember, when we get really nice large engulfing bearish bullish candlestick formations, whatever it might be, we generally tend to see a test. So if this starts going long, then that's potentially the test before the bears try and take control again and take out this 1.5779 area, of course. So we just have to wait and see what happens now, but you could certainly get this test towards the back of this trend line and then a potential fall, okay? But once again, we need to wait and see what the market tries to give us. And once again, this is a little bit of consolidation. If you start seeing here, for example, on the 15-minute, what you might see is if we start seeing this, look, on the 15-minute, then we start saying, well, this is it. The move long is potentially testing that engulfing bearish candle. But on the 15-minute, look what happens. What happens if we break then this uptrend line that you've drawn in, take out the low and do this? Well, this means that what we are doing then is this means a potential twin peak reversal to the downside, which would mean then, of course, we could potentially look at getting in the trade here and riding it down towards that 1.618 area, okay? These are all the things that you can look at to put into your little trading arsenal to use to give you the heads up. So once again, if we start retracing, what you can do on the smaller time frame, as I say, on the 15-minute, what we could do on the 15-minute, I know this is the 1 hour, but on the 15-minute, if you put in this uptrend line, because what we start seeing is this, look, on the 1 hour. Let's say we start seeing this. So we're drawing our uptrend line, even using the 1 hour, of course. Then when we see this break, particularly taking out a low point, retracing, then we could look to take that trade, the twin peak reversal, short, okay? So that's something else that we could also look to do as well. But I'd certainly expect some sort of retracement now, so be a little bit cautious if you're looking to go short. We've also got this pin bar right here. We've also got these inside bars. Let's take a look right here now. Let's zoom in a little bit. Here and now, look, if we draw this on, so what we've got, you've got a really nice pin bar. Okay, this is your pin bar. Then you've got inside bars, 1, 2, 3, 4 inside bars, okay? So effectively, if this is your base candle, so this is your base candle for your inside bar, base candle right here, it's also a pin bar. So potentially if we break this, what we could be seeing is we could be seeing an inside bar setup, and off we go, okay? So once again, something to watch, this area here, the pin bar, inside bar setup we could be watching right here. So let's move on. Okay, let's take a look at the New Zealand. You've got the A. Well, the A is at 85.70 and the B is down here at 74.68. I'm just going to pull this in a little bit, actually. Oops, daisies. Okay, so you've got a down A, B swing retracement up to the 86% level. Of course, it broke here at the 86%, and therefore down here is your extension at the 1.18. Now, but more importantly, the here and now, this is the retracement we've been watching. And last week, we were talking about this particular engulfing candle right here. So this is an engulfing candle that we're talking about. And what we did say is expect a potential test of that. Well, this is the test. Look, you can see engulfing candle. We've got the test of it, and then a potential move to this outer trend line right here. Now, before we can move this up trend line to this point here, this point of contact, we need to take out this eye point at 84.74. We talked about the bulls attempting to take that out, and if they did, well, that means they're still in control, but they failed to do that. And what we did say was, as I say, potentially test this engulfing bearish candle and then move towards this main uptrend line, which is actually what we did see. So let's take a look at the 4 hour. Well, the A is at 85.15 and the B is at 84.57. So A to B, and this was the part of the retracement that we're talking about, looking to come towards this main uptrend line right here. So what we can do, of course, is remember we can put in our nice downtrend lines. If we break above this area, then of course we would be in the buy zone. So above this is the downtrend line I'm talking about now. Above it is the buy zone, and of course below it is of course the sell zone. So if we continue moving towards this particular trend line right here, we'd need to watch this downtrend line for a break above it to say that we're now continuing to its extension up towards the 1.618. Let's take a look then at the 1 hour. Well, on the 1 hour, let's have a look. You've got the A. The A is at 82.10 and the B is at 84.52. Now, this is the uptrend line that we had drawn in. Look how we broke it. So we broke it, an engulfing bearish candle. Of course, if you wanted to get into the trade on a break of this, you could have done so with a stop above, of course, the high point, above this point right here. And then we've seen this steady sideways movement. And then, of course, we then broke this sideways consolidation. Of course, once again, we're also talking about that consolidation. And it really is, it's just been a week again of some consolidation. You would have thought we'd have started seeing some sort of market movement, but we haven't as of yet. Nothing that's been significant, that's been comfortable to trade, of course. So here you go. Look, just look at this again. Look how we're just moving sideways, okay, just moving sideways. Now, this is not easy to trade. Then, of course, what we saw, a break and a potential test of the back of this before we are going to see a potential move towards this main uptrend line right here. Now, just let's take a look at what we should be looking for, because if we do see this move, so let's say we start getting this move here, then what we need to do is I would actually put in a downtrend line here, look. Then I'd wait for one or two things. I'd wait for confirmation of a move above it with a potential twin peak reversal, which would mean that we can look to take this trade long. Or, of course, if it breaks below it and a test of it, then potentially we are going short. So we need to wait for the market to tell us exactly what it's doing. Of course, back to the daily. This daily, we're still looking like we could potentially still move down towards this main uptrend line. But, of course, we could still have a bounce. And what you've also got here is you've also got this inside bar set up right here. So let's just watch and be a little bit careful. You can see once again here multiple inside bars. This is your inside bar here. Just let me draw this in. There's your inside bar, okay. So there's your inside bar, of course, your base candle. We'll talk about the base candle. And these are all your inside bars right here. Look, just look at these inside bars. Now, if we get a break of this base candle here, a break of it short, then, of course, we could look at entering here towards this main downtrend line. But just remember again, up A, B. Retracement. If you do trade short, you are counter trend trading. You're always better trading in the direction of the trend, of course, okay? And of course, if you look at the daily, let me zoom out for you again. Of course, overall, this is your longer term trade trend. But of course, what we've also said is this is also consolidation. It's a very large consolidation range. And even if you zoom right out, and this is the only time frame I've got this on, you've got this really large long-term A-B upswing. So long term, we are looking at a long trade, of course, but this is a shorter term and a very long-term short trade, of course, or a very longer term short term. So they're now digging a little bit of a hole for myself, so I'm going to stop that at the moment, because the here and now down AB, of course, is a down AB, but it's just this sideways movement. New Zealand USD really is a little bit of a sham at the moment, as I say, but we've got this uptrend line. This is what we need to start watching, because if it moves down towards this, and let's zoom in a little bit here. Now, because we're going to play on the here and now. So this is the main uptrend line that we've been watching, isn't it? If we get a move down to this trend line, on the smaller time frames we can draw in our downtrend line, can't we? If we then get a move above it, this would be the buy zone. below it is your sell zone. So if we get a move above it and we get a signal like a little twin peak reversal or something like this, then we can say, well, we've got to bounce off this uptrend line, so we're going to continue trading long. If we get a break through it, then potentially what we are saying is then now what we're going to do is we're now going to potentially start to see the fall move short. And of course, if we do, and potentially what we could see is this move back down towards the bottom of this consolidation area here, or of course, it go after the extension of the 1.18.